everyone, I am Nishu and today I am going to start the chapter. Children, in my previous videos, I have discussed about the different types of terminologies related to the chapter Principles of Mendelian Inheritance and Variation. And from today, I am going to actually commence the chapter. Now children, the chapter is dealing with the Mendelian rules and regulations related to inheritance. Now let us know first that what is inherited traits. Now children, here the term is given inherited traits. Now this term has been meant with two words. Now these two words are inherited and traits. Now you are very much familiar with the word traits. Trait means your characteristic features of any of the living organisms. Now these characteristic features can be any type, like your hair color, eye color, skin color, your height, your specificity, any type of traits, any type of characters it may deal with. Now children, the word inherited means that the characters which are transferred from one generation to the next generation. So here in this term inherited traits, I hope you are understanding now what we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss the definition of inherited traits. So it is an inheritance of a character from one generation to next generation. So inherited trait means the transfer of traits, transfer of characters from the parent generation to the offspring generation, to the progeny generation. Now children, in this inheritance, in this type of inherited traits, what is actually being transferred? Actually, the transfer of common basic body design takes place. Now, what do you mean by common basic body design? Now, children, common basic body design means that all the living organisms have a basic body structure. Now, if I take example of human beings, then we have all the human beings in the environment, in our surrounding, and throughout the world look same. All of us have two eyes, two hands, two legs, two ears, mouth is there. The basic internal organs are same. The hands are having 10 fingers, the feet are having 10 fingers. So this is a basic common design of the body structure in every human being. So this basic structure, this basic body structure is transferred from the parent to the offspring. Now children, always remember that 99.1% genes related to characters are transferred same what is in the parent to the offspring. That is why your basic body structure in every living organism is same. What the structure the parents are having, the similar basic body design the offsprings also have. The variation is only in 0.9%. Children, in some of the books it is mentioned that 99.9% your genes are being transferred related to the characteristics from the parent to the offsprings are same. Only 0.1% differences comes in the offspring, and that 0.1 differences is related to the look of the child, look of the offspring. We are similar to a parent, but we do not exactly look like a parent. So children, this 0.1% is very important. This 0.1% brings variations in the offspring from the parent. So now here in this part we are not going to discuss exactly now, but what we were discussing, that was your definition for the inherited traits. So inherited traits was the inheritance of character from one generation to the next generation. And what it transfers a common basic body design. And children, this design which is being transferred is having a minor changes in them. Now children, what type of characters are being transferred from the parent to the offspring, inherited from parent to the offspring? It may be height, it may be hair color, eye color, shape of the feet, your earlobes, these are the earlobes, these and many characters which are present in the body, which are responsible for the basic structure of a living organism, of any type of living organism. So children, now let us know that how the characters are being inherited to the next generation. Now children, after knowing the definition of inherited traits, the next question in front of us is that how do traits get inherited? It means that the question is asking that how the characters we are talking about, how they are transferred from one generation to the next generation. Now children, we are going to get the answer for this by studying the Mendelian inheritance, Mendelian genetics. So children, traits get inherited by following the rules of Mendelian genetics or your Mendelian rules. So the characters we are going to study, that how it is being transferred, it is through Mendelian genetics. Now children, this Mendelian genetics, what is Mendelian genetics? Mendelian genetics is the study of genetics, in which we are going to study that how the characters are being transferred by following different type of rules from one generation to the another generation. Now children, by itself the characters cannot get transferred. They need certain processes are there, certain rules and regulations are there. There are many characters, there are many type of genes who are guiding the gene characters to transfer from one generation to another. So children, automatically by itself the genes or the traits or the characters cannot be transferred from one generation to another. So the characters or traits always needs certain rules, and these rules were framed by Mendel, Gregor Johann Mendel, and those rules and regulations where it has been framed and postulated together, that is called as Mendelian genetics. Now children, how do traits get inherited? To that answer we are going to get that from where? From Mendelian genetics. By studying Mendelian genetics, by studying different rules and regulations, we will be knowing that how the characters, how the genes are being transferred from one generation to another generation. Now children, this Mendelian genetics is the study of genetics given by Gregor Johann Mendel. And children, this Gregor Johann Mendel was called as father of genetics. We are knowing it. Now children, Gregor Johann Mendel gave the basic rules, initial rules I told you, the basic rules of genetics and inheritance, that how traits get inherited from one generation to another. I told you in the when I was explaining terminology and when I was telling you all about the persons who were involved in the genetics field, at that time I told you a little bit about Gregor Johann Mendel, and I told that he was the person who has given the initial milestone to the foundation stone to the study of the genetics. He has framed the basic rules that how the genes are being getting transferred from generation wise. So the basic rules and regulation, very simple rules and regulations have been given by Mendel. Later, now this field is a vast field where many researchers, many genetists are working, but we will be talking about them little later. But now in this chapter, in the initial part, we will be discussing about Gregor Johann Mendel. And this Gregor Johann Mendel was called as father of genetics, and he gave the basic simple rules that how the genes get, how the traits get transferred from one generation to the another generation, from parent generation to the progeny generation. Now moving ahead children with the same question, to know some more points, that children, your Mendel performed his experiments on pea plant. I told you that all the experiments related to Mendelian rules were given by Gregor Johann Mendel, and he has done various experiments, he has performed various experiments. So children, Mendel has performed all his experiment on a pea plant. And children, the scientific name, the botanical name of pea plant is your Pisum sativum. Now children, he was the first person, always remember, Mendel was the first person who has correlated biology with mathematics. How? That whatever experiments he had performed related to inheritance, all the results which he obtained, he calculated and he has framed it in form of mathematical data. So children, he was the first person who has correlated mathematics to the biology. Many people used to consider him as a mad person. They used to think that what is the relation between mathematics and biology. But children, Mendel has performed various number of experiments, multiple number of experiments, and children, all his multiple experiments has given a inheritance result, and all his results have been postulated in a mathematical data. It has been mentioned it has been recorded in a mathematical data's form. Now children, let us move ahead again with the same question. So children, we came to know now that your Mendel performed all his experiments on the pea plant, and the scientific name for the pea plant is Pisum sativum. So children, Mendel has performed multiple number of experiments on the pea plant. It is not only that, only one experiment he has performed on pea plant, and only for a single year, and he has postulated such a big rules, and he has postulated such a different type of laws on Mendelian inheritance. It is not so, children. Mendel has performed multiple number of experiments, and this multiple number of experiments was lasted for about 7 years. For about 7 years. Now children, Mendel has performed multiple number of experiments on pea plant, and he performed his experiments for 7 years, that is from 1856 to 1863. He has worked for about 7 years. From 1856 to 1863 he has worked, and on which plant? On pea plant. Multiple number of experiments. He has taken long 7 years to perform his experiments. Now children, what was the main feature of his work? That he kept the count of individuals, or he recorded the number of individuals. He recorded the individuals. He recorded the number of individuals exhibiting a particular trait in each generation. Children, he has kept the count of individual. What does it mean? In every generation, for 7 years he has performed. And in every generation, every year, a large number of plants was obtained. He was growing. So, in every generation, the next offspring generation which he was obtaining, he was keeping the record of all those individuals. He was keeping the counting of all those individuals. If suppose he has crossed two plants, two pea plant, one of tall heighted and one of dwarf heighted, and he obtained the progeny from that plant, about 10 number of plants he is obtaining it. So he kept the record that he has obtained 10 number of plants from the first generation. Now from that 10, now among those 10, which character he obtained, that also he recorded. Everything he kept a mathematical record, he kept it. For everything he kept a mathematical data. Now this data has helped him to postulate his laws, to frame his rules for the Mendelism. Hope children you have understood what did I mean to say. That Mendel performed his experiment on the pea plants. Every time he used to take two contrasting traits, characters, plant, and then he used to obtain a new progeny, new offspring generation. Now in that generation, how many number of offsprings he is obtaining? He used to keep record of that also. Plus, he used to keep the record of the characters which the plants were possessing, the offsprings were possessing. So he kept the record of numbers as well as he kept the record of the traits present in those individuals, offspring individuals. So it was a big work for him which Mendel did, and which made the Mendelism successful, which gave Mendel a great a successful result for framing a inheritance of rules for the inheritance. Now children, many rules of heredity were established by him, as his rules is called as laws of Mendelian inheritance. I told you now children that his work of keeping datas, mathematical datas, it gave him a huge successful, and when he calculated them, when he collected all the records, and when he gave the postulation to his work, when he gave a record to his work, then altogether his work was called as law of Mendelian inheritance. Hope children you have understood the answer to the question that how do traits get inherited. So traits get inherited from one generation to another generation in form of genes. And who has given this postulation? Who has given these rules and regulations? Gregor Johann Mendel, known as father of genetics, has given it. Now Gregor Johann Mendel has performed a large number of experiments on Pisum sativum, and it was for about 7 years long, 7 years, and from 1856 to 1863 he has performed his experiments, and from which whatever data he was getting, he was collecting, and which helped him to frame the laws of Mendelian inheritance. Now children, let us move ahead. Now children, after getting answer to one question, that how do traits get inherited, again we have another question in front of us. And what is that question? That question is, why did Mendel choose pea plant for his experiment? Now the question is that Mendel has performed his experiment on pea plant, and why did he choose only pea plant for his experiment? Now children, one evening Mendel was sitting in a garden behind his church, and that garden was having large number of plants, but among them the most abundant plant which was grown in the kitchen garden of the church was your pea plant. Now while sitting there, he observed different characters in the pea plant, and suddenly it struck in his mind that why the same plant is having different traits, why the same plant is having different characters, why the same type of plant, some of them are having white color flower, some of them are having purple color flower, why some of the plants are tall in height, why some of them are dwarf, shorter in size. Many questions struck in his mind, and he suddenly thought of those questions and tried to get answer to it, and that was the turning point, children, in the life of Gregor Johann Mendel. From there his life turned on, and he, from a different path, he moved to the path of genetics. He started working on the pea plant. He started calculating the number of individuals. He started recording his data, which gave him such a big fame, and he is also called as father of genetics. From there his turning point came in his life. Now children, we shall get the answer to the question that why did Mendel choose the pea plant only? Now children, scientifically the answers are that pea plant are self-pollinated plants in nature. I hope you know that what is self-pollination and what is cross-pollination. So pea plants are self-pollinated. Pea is a bisexual plant having your stamen as well as your pistil both in the same flower. Your male reproductive organ and female reproductive organ, both are present in the pea plant. Now children, as your pea plant was bisexual, so easily the plants can be self-pollinated. As well as with that, character, the pea plant could easily be cross-pollinated also. So cross-pollination was easy to be done artificially. So artificially by a manual methods, the pollen grains from one of the pea plant could be sprinkled on the another selected pea plants, and your cross-pollination was also possible. So these are the two characters which I told you, that your pea plant was in the nature who has the property of self-pollination, as well as the pea plant could be cross-pollinated also. Now children, the third point. It had pure breed line traits present. Pure breed line traits. What do you mean by pure breed line traits? Breed term has been taken from breeding, from hybridization technique. So the characters which were present in the pea plant, they were all pure in characters. They were all dominant in characters. If the flower was a purple in color, so it was purple. If it was white, it was white. If it was your tall height, so it was a tall height. If it was a dwarf, it was a dwarf. Pure breed line traits the plant was having. All the characters were purely present in the plants. So pure breed line characters were present in the plants of the pea. Now children, plants had several contrasting traits like your height, flower color, seed color, etc. So I told you that pure breed line characters were present, and these characters or these traits were many various types of traits like your height of the plant, your flower of the color of the flower, color of the seed, shape of the seed. So various characters were present. Various characters Mendel came to observe in the pea plant. Now children, these flowers are having, this plant is having short lifespan. You know that mostly pea plant is obtained in the winter season. Within the winter season, your many generations of pea plants can be grown. So as your pea plant was a short lifespan, so it was suiting the experiment of Mendel. So in a one season only, a large number of generations he could observe and he could keep the record. So it was beneficial for your Mendel work. So he chose the pea plant. So the pea plant was having short lifespan. Then it was very easy to cultivate. Anywhere, at any place he could cultivate it. Then one most important point, that pea plant was having 7 number of chromosomes in the pea plant. Here the number of chromosome was 7. 7 pairs, not 7 numbers. It was in 7 pair of chromosomes were present. 7 pair of chromosomes were present. It means that your 14 number of chromosomes were present in the plants. So children, these are again your 7 characters. Children, I told you that Mendel has performed his experiment for 7 years, from 1856 to 1863. 7. Now here, why did he choose the pea plant? Here again 7 characters are coming. Your self-pollination was there, property was present, cross-pollination property was present, pure breed line property was present, several contrasting characters were present. If it was a purple, so contrasting character, color, white was present. If plant is tall, the contrasting character dwarf is present. If the seed is round, the contrasting character wrinkled seed was present. So for every pure line, breed line traits, for every character your contrasting trait was present. Then your short lifespan was there, your then easy to cultivate, and the pea plant was having 7 pair of chromosome, that means it was 14 pairs. 7 characters were present. So this 7 number was very lucky for Mendelism to frame the Mendel's law. Now children, again I will show the game of 7 numbers in the 7 contrasting characters, that how did Mendel got 7 contrasting characters only to perform his experiments. Now let us move ahead. Now children, we came to know that Mendel has performed his experiment for 7 years. We also came to know the 7 reasons that why did Mendel choose the pea plant. Now we are going to get answer for again next thing, that what were the 7 contrasting traits in pea plant? What were the contrasting traits. And children, there were 7 contrasting traits present in pea plants. And what were these contrasting characters? If I talk about the shape of the seed. So, contrasting character in the shape of the seed was that some of the seeds were round in shape and some of them were wrinkled in shape. If I draw the shape, then round was perfectly round seeds, and if I talk about wrinkled, then they were wrinkled. Some of the places the seeds were squeezed in between, so they were wrinkled shaped. Now children, if I talk about the color of the seed, some of the seeds were perfectly green in color and some of them were yellow in color. So they are contrasting characters. For every character, two traits are present for every character. So if I am talking about the color of the seed, then the seed may be green also, the seed may be yellow also. If I am talking about the shape of the seed, some of the seeds can be round also and some of the seeds can be wrinkled also. So in this form, he was getting your 7 contrasting characters. So if the next I talk about, then I am talking about the shape of the pod. Pod means fruit, like fruits. So if I talk about, so some of the fruits were inflated. So your pea fruit is like this. So some of the pods were inflated and some of the pods were constricted. Some of the pods were constricted. If I talk about the color of the pod, some of them were green and some of them were yellow. When I talk about the color of the flower, then some of the flowers were purple in color and some of them were white in color. If I talk about the position of the flower, then some of the flowers were at terminal points and some of them were at axial points. Now if I talk about the height of the plant, then some of the plants were tall and some of the plants were dwarf. Again I will say, see the magic of 7. So don't you think that the 7 number was very lucky for Mendel? 7 years he performed his experiment. 7 reasons were there in front of him to choose the pea plant. Then there were 7 contrasting characters also present in the pea plant which helped him, which supported him to frame, to postulate the laws of Mendelian inheritance. And with this type of various characters, performing experiments on these type of characters only, he has recorded all the datas, and that datas now then still till dated we are studying in form of genetics. Children, this is clear to you all. Now let us move ahead. Now here children, we are going to get answer to the another question, and the question is that how self-pollination and cross-pollination was done in pea plant. I told you that what was the reason behind choosing the pea plant by Mendel, and in that 2 important characters were that the pea plant has the property of self-pollination as well as it has the property of your cross-pollination also. So children, here we are going to get answer that how self-pollination is done and how cross-pollination is done. Now children, if I start with self-pollination, you are knowing it that self-pollination means transfer of pollen grains within the same flower to the pistil. What is pollination? Pollination is a process of transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the pistil. Now, if we are talking about self-pollination, then within the same flower, the pollen grains from the anther will be transferred to the stigma of the pistil within that same flower itself. But when we talk about cross-pollination, then there are 2 flowers and the pollen grain from one of the flower will be transferring to the another flower. So, to the stigma of the another flower. So, this is your cross-pollination. But children, here I am going to discuss about self-pollination. Now children, you all are knowing that self-pollination takes place in those plants where your flowers are bisexual. So, your pea plant was a bisexual plant. So it was very easy for Mendel to collect the record because they were self-pollinated in the nature by itself. So children, self-pollination was the first practice which was conducted by the Mendel. Then this is a bisexual plant, I told you. And what is bisexual? A flower having the male reproductive organ and the female reproductive organ in the same flower. So I have mentioned here also that bisexual means having male and female reproductive organ both. And children, within that same flower only, pollen grains will be transferred to the stigma. Then your fertilization process will take place, and then after that the rest process, the zygote formation and rest of the process will be taking places. Now children, if I explain it with the help of diagram, then what is it that if suppose that this is one of the pea flower, axillary arrangement it is having, this is one of the pea flower, and children, within this pea flower only, here in between your stamen is there having your male reproductive organ, pollen grains are present, and then here again it is having a pistil, its stigma is over here having ovary inside it. Now children, what will happen that your pollen grains, transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the pistil, this is your self-pollination. This is called as self-pollination. So flower is same, and within the same flower the pollen grains from the anther is transferring to the stigma of the same flower. So this is your self-pollination. So children, in this case, this was practiced in the pea plant, and as it is a bisexual plant, so easily self-pollination can be done. Now let us see children that how cross-pollination is done. Now children, let us move ahead with the next part, that is your cross-pollination. Now children, self-pollination was practiced in the same flower, and for cross-pollination we need two different flowers of one same plant or two different flowers from the two different plants. So here we are talking about cross-pollination, and this is practiced between two contrasting characters of a flower, of a plant. So two contrasting characters are needed, because you can call it that a hybrid variety are going to obtain during this process, by adopting this process. So during cross-pollination, the process is practiced between the two contrasting characters of a plant. Now, what is done in the beginning? In the beginning, your emasculation process is done. Now children, what is emasculation? Now children, all these processes practiced in the pea plant. So I am drawing the flower only of a pea plant. Now suppose that this is the petal of a pea plant, pea flower, in this way. Now children, this is your anther, and this is your stigma, pistil. Now children, what is emasculation? Emasculation means removal of anther. It is one of the most important process which is practiced during the cross-pollination technique. Now what is it is? It is your removal of stamen from the plant. So what is this? This is your stamen, male reproductive organ. So children, emasculation, E means removal, masculation, masculine part, male reproductive organ, to remove the male reproductive organ from the flower. So children, with the help of scissor, this stamen is cut from here and it is removed from the flower. So it is removed. Your anther along with the filament, pollen grain is removed from the plant. This process is called as emasculation. This is your emasculation. It is removed from the flower with the help of scissor. Now children, after emasculation, this flower has to be prevented so that the pollen grains from the another flower would not come, to prevent it from the cross pollination from the another flower. So the next technique what is done, then the emasculated flower is bagged by adopting the bagging technique. Now what is bagging technique? Now children, a polythene sheet transparent made up of parchment paper like that of tissue papers and all, it is taken and then the flower is bagged up. The flower is polythene, it is bagged with the help of bagging technique. Now what this bagging technique will do, how it will help? This will help this particular flower from the cross pollination. If suppose on this side some nearby flower is there, the pollen grains can be transferred to this flower, to the stigma. So to prevent that pollination, the flower, emasculated flower is bagged. And then children, what is done? The desired pollen grains, the well-wish, what we want, the particular character which we want in the next offspring to be developing with. So that particular desired character pollen grain is brought and it is sprinkled on the emasculated flower, and then it is allowed to fertilize, and then the next generation offspring which is obtained, then it is observed that the character, which type of character is being obtained, whether it was the prior one or it was the hybrid which is obtained because of cross pollination technique. Now children, your cross pollination with desired pollen grains was done. Children, this is how your self-pollination and cross-pollination was done, was practiced by Mendel even, and then he postulated and then he gave all the theories, all the rules of Mendelism, which again I'll repeat, which is known as laws of Mendelian inheritance. Hope children that today's session was clear to you all. Thank you.